Happy Thursday, ladies and gents, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update with yours truly. My apologies for my absence over the past 2 days. Usually we drop one of these updates every single day around 1 p.m. UK time. Had some affairs to take care of on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we got some pretty spectacular news on Tuesday that we were expecting, and that is an order that was put on Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund to essentially be converted into an ETF. So this is the first really of the kind of crypto basket products to get approved, and that's going to open the floodgates to institutional, but more broadly a larger pool of capital that is typically traditional in how it invests. The vast majority of money is with kind of boomers, older people, and I think there's this real kind of wealth transfer, which is why I'm positioned in the crypto space now, that is going to take place with that generation moving on and that money trickling down to what will at that point be a kind of native crypto investing demographic. This technology, and I've never been so confident on this, is truly going to embed itself everywhere. And there's two kind of aspects to it. There's it as a technology and what it's going to do and the unlock that it brings to the world, like with a lot of other technologies out there. You know, you can look at the automobile industry, you can look at the agricultural revolution, the introduction of machineries that fundamentally changed that entire sector. You can look at the internet and how it's changed commerce and retail and communication. And now we're sort of on the internet of value, which is a major unlock for the world. And it's going to, I think, just like what you saw with even the creation of shipping containers, Chris Larson likes to speak about that, was you see kind of economic booms on the back end of it. I think crypto is no different. And there's that kind of technological unlock that's taking place, but there's also it as an asset class. And actually, the Grayscale news is particularly significant because it's the first kind of basket product, and you are going to see a kind of S&P style or an index style product. I think be very successful as it relates to the crypto space and captures this technology. So we're of course going to start off the video there. And there was a Solana ETF, SSK. We'll look at how that did. Then we're going to look at some news from Wells Fargo and Bank of America, who, according to Paul Barron, are now in panic mode as 89% of Gen Zs and millennials report that they will leave their banks for crypto and DeFi platforms offering yield, tokenized stocks, and Web3. Again, like Christine Lagarde said, the head of the ECB, you either adopt this technology or you get, and she used this word specifically, cannibalized by it. And that was in specifics. She went on to mention both Ripple and Stellar, which are two projects we're pretty heavily invested in. Of course, you want to unlock what I own, do become a patron. And we've got some interesting news from Ripple that are seeking a Fed master account. I'll do a longer video on this, and then I'm just going to give you technically why we're just unbelievably bullish on the cryptocurrency space. So strap yourselves in, guys. Let's dive into it. My apologies for my absence. I'm back. I missed you. I always do when I'm away. So this is from James Seyfarth, the guy to follow, Bloomberg analyst when it comes to really ETFs. He says, there's the approval order for Grayscale's GDLC to convert into an ETF. This is their digital large cap fund that holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. The final deadline was tomorrow. This was, of course, posted on Tuesday. The deadline was on Wednesday, and we said there's a high probability of that being approved. As you can imagine, because people are frustrated when it comes to the cryptocurrency space because they don't understand the bigger picture, I truly believe it. I think if you've done your homework on this space, you wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. And I think some people are just venting, and we're happy to be that kind of outlet for some people if they need it. But, you know, we obviously got ridiculed for saying this was going to happen. It did happen. It has been approved. However, there's a delay in regards to the actual conversion. James Seyfarth goes on to say, approval was our expectations. The fund is over 90% Bitcoin and Ethereum. The next big day is Bitwise, a deadline for the end of this month, July the 31st. But the SEC could obviously go early. We wrote about this on Bloomberg Terminal. There's an update that it's not actually launching yet. So he goes on to say, and this is from Eric Balanchunas, the plot thickens, upper level SEC telling GDLC it can't launch until otherwise notified, even though it's been approved. Very interesting. Not sure why. No other info than this letter. My guess, though, they want to issue the crypto ETP listing standard before any 33 Axe spot ETFs hit the market and other coins. So likely just a delay until then, but we'll see. So it has been approved. The approval did go through, but they've basically been sort of cease and desist isn't the right word. Told they can't go forward because we still have and don't really have clear regulations on this industry. And the Genius Act is a great step in the right direction. Stablecoins are the evolution of money. They make sense. I speak to institutions all day long. I speak to retailers. I speak to normal people that have and use, card services and that have businesses. And it's a huge cost that gets just eaten away with stablecoins and the implementation of DLT. And that's why this technology will ultimately get adopted. But we've also got the Clarity Act. And I believe it was Senator Scott who essentially said this all needs to be wrapped up by September. This is going to be a very bullish year, and that's going to lead us into sort of the back end of the year, which is typically a bullish time. And of course, technically, we'll go over why we're so bullish on the crypto space. It's just a lot of reaffirming things we've already said. Can be somewhat repetitive, but I'm a big believer that as an investor, you should have a plan and you should stick to it until there's reason to do otherwise. And we will get everybody through this. But there's a process that's involved with that. So this is the update. It says while Grayscale was given the approval order on their conversion of GDLC into the ETF yesterday, there was a letter attached to that approval that is putting a stay on their ability to actually convert. This letter is to notify you that pursuant to Rule 431, the Commission's rule of practice, the Commission will review the delegated action in accordance with the rule. Order is stayed until the Commission orders otherwise. So interesting. I think they're just waiting for some more sort of regulatory clarity. He goes on to actually post a thread here that we can look at. It can be found on the SEC's website, talking more about sort of Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund and Bloomberg Terminal. But this is why we were so convinced of this. So you guys will remember it's been a while since we sort of predicted this. But GBTC, we had this price target from all the way down here and it got met. And you'll just see continuation for this. We also had the ETH target that got met. And we were looking at Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund and saying this is going to meet its target. This would be a 10x for investors if we get this sort of from this right shoulder. Of course, we've been predicting it from significantly lower. Do become a subscriber if you're not already, guys. It's well worth it. I think we've got one of the best technical and kind of overviews of the cryptocurrency space that there is on the whole of the internet. I truly believe that when I say it. But this is also a reason why technically we're bullish on the space as a whole, because this tracks altcoins or a basket of cryptos. If this is going to go up, it's likely that the underlying coins are going to do very well in that environment, which aligns with technically what we're looking at with Bitcoin, what we think is going on. 21 shares was another basket that we were looking at, and top 10 crypto index fund. And they all had falling wedges that ultimately broke out, as we were predicting. And Grayscale has completed its falling wedge, which is typically a reversal pattern. I do have a course on Patreon on falling wedges specifically if you guys want to learn. There was also a Solana ETF that kind of snuck through. The Solana ETF SSK took 12 million on the first day, according to Osprey, who told Decrypt. We won't see any data until tonight, so I'll be looking out for this. That's pretty solid for context. It took 3 months for SolZ to get 12 million. Also, pre-market volume is 3 million versus 260k on SolZ, pointing to another strong trading day. So we'll see how this sort of grows, but the floodgates are opening. The vast majority of capital is kind of traditional, and that merge still needs to happen. And I want to be positioned for that merge to take place, not once it's taken place. Like I said this to you guys the other day, I said, would you rather buy before they open the floodgates with ETFs or after? I personally before, but whatever you guys choose to do with your own money is entirely up to you. This was interesting from Paul Barron. He's a good guy to follow, actually. He puts out some great content. The claim is banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America are now officially in panic mode, as 89% of Gen Z millennials report that they will leave their banks for crypto and DeFi platforms offering yield, tokenized stocks, and Web3. There's some interesting stuff going on with OpenAI and somebody sort of creating almost like a synthetic of their company. That's essentially what derivatives are. It's an interesting world we're moving towards, I think. This is from Ellen Tourette talking about the crypto space, companies like Ripple and XRP kind of eating traditional finance. In addition to applying for OCC Trust Charter, Ripple has also applied for a Fed master account through the trust company it acquired last year, being, of course, Standard Custody, which I reported Monday. See below, although I admittedly missed the Ripple connection. Being granted a Fed master account is a much bigger deal than getting granted an OCC charter. In terms of access, it will describe, or it was described to me by the banking lawyers this way. In terms of tier, a master account is Diamond Bank is platinum. Is Diamond Bank is platinum. Trust companies are gold, and money transmitter licenses are silver. So it says it all. The Federal Reserve has historically resisted giving crypto companies direct access to the payment system, even though critics argue it could reduce risk, and it really can. It's currently defending that stance in a lawsuit, which I think this is Caitlin Long's bank, perhaps. But this is huge news. And just to finish things off technically, guys, the plan has not changed for us once as it relates to Bitcoin. We've been right on it since 16K. We're going to continue to be right. I'm confident on that. Not only have we got broader and bigger sort of technical targets and patterns, the last kind of TA that we did was we looked at, obviously, this falling wedge that's played out. I think this is a bull flag that's going to lead to continuation. This is a textbook bull flag, and I think you're going to get that run, certainly marching up towards the sort of 150K range. And my play, of course, on Bitcoin is really miners. We've got one miner in the Patreon that, you know, we've been holding for a long time, accumulating for a long time, and it's finally starting to rock and roll, which we're all pretty happy to see. And my stock portfolio generally is, you know, looking extremely healthy. And that's because we got the sort of macroeconomics right. And I'm trying to figure out where crypto sort of sits in it. But when I look at altcoins, when I look at the overall picture, it's a really great one. Ladies and gentlemen, that is really it from me. Gentlemen, that is really it from me. On that note, I'm going to love and leave each and every one of you. I'll see you tomorrow for another daily market update. Watch out for this evening's vid, and I'll see you all in the flip side. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.